It's everything that I wanted it to be. That is the point.
I put my foot in my mouth again. I hope they still wanna be my friends. I got desirable qualities. If you don't mind my obsessing with me, I kept repeating myself yesterday. Repeating myself, I keep on yesterday.
My name is Adela, and I write tabletop games now, I guess. I came out here today to talk about my big project. If you're seeing this on my Kickstarter page, you probably already know about it. If you're seeing it on my YouTube, you might not know about it, but I just wanted to sit down and talk to you a little bit about my project, Wisp, the game that I wrote, why I wrote it, what it's all about, why you should go support it if you haven't yet in the last 24 hours that the campaign is up. So up until last summer, I had no intentions of ever writing a tabletop role-playing game. I played many, many games. I listened to actual play podcasts. I never thought I had the creative scope to build a game myself until I had the idea for a fairy heist crew game called Be Do Crimes. I had the idea for that name, and I just knew I had to write it before anyone else did. So I wrote Be Do Crimes last summer. It went through tons of playtests. It is a finished game now, and you can buy it on my itch page. It is a game that I am planning to kickstart in the future, so if you want to stick around for that, you can. Anyway, that led into me thinking about writing other games. And then my friend Weston L.M. Humphreys, who wrote Habits of the Common House Ghost, which was also kickstarted on Zine Quest this year, they hosted a game jam, a game writing jam, which was called Ghost to Ghost. It was a ghost game writing jam, and I immediately, just the first thought that popped into my head was, I need to write a game about a will-o'-the-wisp leading a mortal through a bog. And I sat down and started writing it. When I started writing this game, I had the image and the intention of, I really wanted to bring out the feeling of being in a place, a specific place. And it is a place that you create yourself with your partner who you're playing with. Hello, Crow. Every game of Wisp is set in a swamp or a marsh or a bog, but every single game has its own unique setting. But I wanted them all to have this feeling of being lost in a natural environment that kind of leans towards being a little bit spooky. I started by just writing a whole bunch of prompts, ideas that I wanted to start scenes. And as I was doing that, I started to realize that this game was going to be not just about the setting, it was going to be about the emotions of the characters, and that was going to be the focus of the game, and how their emotions shift throughout the story as they grow closer and further apart as traveling companions, I guess. Then I sat down and started my first playtest with my friend Renata, and that was basically when the entire game got developed. We play tested a bunch of ideas that I had, figured out ways for the players to have more power in controlling the emotions of the game, but specifically I always wanted the characters to be able to influence each other's emotions and not have as much control over their own emotions. That's kind of an important aspect of the game. Anyway, all of that being said, I don't know how much of this I'm going to keep in. I'm just rambling. I did not have any notes for this video. Once I started setting up the Kickstarter and figuring out ways to market it, I started calling it an emotional storytelling game. I'm sure other people have called games that before. I'm sure that's not a unique way of describing a game, but that is what Wisp is. Wisp is an emotional storytelling game. It is set in a setting that is meant to be beautiful and visceral and tragic and scary, but it is focusing on the emotions of the two characters and of the players. It is supposed to evoke a certain emotion in the players when they are playing the game. This bittersweet, kind of nostalgic, kind of heart-wrenching sometimes, just invested, just this feeling of being invested in the story. And everything being driven by the emotions, which is why I created the mood scale. So let's explain a little bit about how the game actually works. Players draw cards. The card drawing aspect of the game is inspired by the Quiet Year, and the way that a lot of the early prompts were written was inspired by Firebrand's prompts, but it kind of evolved from there into its own thing. And I realized that I needed to have a way of tracking the emotions of the characters because that was going to be kind of the main mechanic of the game. And so I created the mood scale, which the characters slide back and forth on according to how the mood of each scene goes. And instead of rolling dice, you flip a coin to find out which direction on the scale you're going to slide for that scene. And then I thought, well, what do you do with the cards that you've already flipped? Do they just get discarded? No, they go into your hand, and then you can use them against the other player, sometimes for, to influence their emotions. So you can counteract a coin flip by using a card that you have in your hand, which I call shift cards. This is the thing that gives the players more autonomy over the way the emotional arc of the game goes. They can decide if they want the other player to move more towards the left side of the scale or the right side of the scale. Now, it is important to mention here that none of the emotions are as simple as happy or sad. You can be happy and sad in this game. It can be mixed in with all of the other emotions. But the mortal character is shifting between lost and curious, two feelings that I imagine you would have if you wandered into an unfamiliar bog in the dark and were following this mystical light. You would either feel curious or you would feel lost. And then there are a range of emotions in between, a range of different ways of feeling each of those emotions. And then the Wisp character, who is a magical spirit of some kind, different depending on who's playing it, what you decide to do with it. But that character is tied to the bog, and that character does not have the freedom of happiness and curiosity. They can either be malicious, which means that their motivations are malevolent, or they can be melancholy, which can mean that their choices are benevolent, or it can mean that they are just sad and withdrawn and not participating as much, because they are a spirit who has been wandering in the bog since before they can remember. As the two characters grow closer or further apart, they are also exploring the feeling of being lost, the feeling of being found, the push and pull of trust and care for each other, the shift of priorities over the game, whether the mortal starts out wanting to leave and just being lost and being scared and wanting to leave, and the Wisp starts out wanting to bring the mortal into the bog forever, and how that journey can change as they get to know each other by the end of the game. There are 4 different ending possibilities based on the combination of moods you have at the end, and then you can narrate your epilogue based on that. I guess the important thing I want to say is that when I started writing this game, I had a very specific feeling in my imagination that I wanted this game to evoke, and I did not know if I could pull it off. By the end of the first playtest, I knew I had done it. I knew that I had created the game exactly the way that I needed to bring out those emotions in the players while they're playing. And all of the playtests I've done since then, and then games that other people have played without me, I've had the same feedback. It's gut-wrenching. It's beautiful. It hurts, but in a good way. It's everything that I wanted it to be. That is the point. It's everything to me. Now let's talk about the Kickstarter. If you're seeing this on the Kickstarter page, you probably already know the things that I'm about to say, but if you're not, I will say the things. I launched the Kickstarter on February 10th. I did not expect many eyes to see it, so I set the bar very low and I set the campaign length very long. And then everyone blew the campaign out of the water over and over and over and over again. I am overwhelmed with the support that this campaign has received. I cannot thank everyone enough. The campaign ends tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. EDT. And I added more numbers to the physical tiers this morning, and most of them have already sold out. As of right now, there might be some still available. I don't know if they are. I'll say so here or in the caption. But there's an unlimited number of digital copies and unlimited physical, just the zine tier, so you can get that still until the campaign ends. If you're interested, I hope that you're excited about it as I am. I can't wait to start actually putting the whole game together and sending it out to everyone. I'm so excited for more people in the world to be able to tell these stories and maybe if you feel like it, share them with me, because I would love to hear them. And yeah, that's all I would like to say. If you have already supported the campaign, thank you so much. If you didn't know, I did announce last week, I think, that because the campaign has received this much support, I will be donating the remainder of the money after I've paid for all the physical items and shipping and my labor for putting everything together. I am going to be donating the remainder to an environmental association of some kind. Looking into a few right now. I would like it to be an Indigenous-led and owned environmental group or organization in Canada, preferably, because that's where I am. I thought that would be appropriate since the game is very tied to the setting of marshland and wetlands, which are endangered and need to be protected, as all of our natural spaces need to be protected. I will announce later what the charity is that I will be donating to and how much we end up donating. I will let everybody know that once that happens. That will be after everything gets sent out, which will be towards the end of the summer. But anyway, I've been rambling for 20 minutes. I don't know how much of this is going to be in the actual video because I am very awkward and not professional to be talking about my game this way. But I am so excited to be doing it now. I'm so proud of this game. I cannot wait for everyone to see it. I've already said that. And play it. And that's it. The wind is picking up and I need to go put this video together so that I can post it before the campaign actually ends. If you would like to support the game and you're on my YouTube watching this, it will be linked below. If you are seeing this later, after April 10th, the game will be available on my itch page, flowerfay.itch.io, though that name might be changing soon. The digital version of the game will be available as soon as I have sent the digital version to all of the backers, which will be in the next couple of months. So as soon as that happens, I will have that linked down below as well. If you can't wait for that, there is an old version of the game up on my itch right now for $12 if you want to buy that for some reason. But I really recommend waiting for the new one because it is better illustrated and doesn't have typos in it. It has some extra stuff. So I've been rambling far too long. So that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.
I'll be your empathetic savior. Call me up, I'll meet you later. You can praise me for the way I always know just what to say. I'll carve into your ribs and leave you crying for a kiss just for kicks. And nothing satiates me, and I don't think that I hate me. But bad or good scenes, nothing could take away this tasteless haze. And nothing overtakes me, and I think I'm going crazy. But